Now, in addition to Harley rides and roasting pigs, Iowa holds the nation's first presidential contest. It's a special status that has allowed this state's voters to deliver some really big surprises over the years. Joining me now to talk about that and much more is Maeve Reston, CNN's national political reporter, Matt Strawn, who is a former chairman of the Iowa Republican Party, and Jennifer Jacobs, chief political reporter for the Des Moines Register. Thank you all for being here. The wind kicked up as soon as we started. Let's just start by putting on the screen for our viewers just how many people we are actually talking about. 10 declared Republican candidates so far, and that doesn't include the actual governors, most of the governors, I should say. They're going to probably declare in the next couple of months. That will bring it to 15 total. So let me start with you, Matt. You have been the Republican chair here. You've been through a caucus in the past. How does somebody break through in a field like this when there's so many competitors?
Well, I think we saw part of that secret to that success yesterday with Joni Ernst. If you look at the crowd that she had, you had CEOs to the most hardened conservative county chair activist types, and that's the coalition she was able to put together, not just to win a primary, but be successful in the general election here in Iowa. So the secret is be authentic, be here, be on the ground. So for those candidates that weren't there yesterday, I would encourage them to make sure Iowa is a frequent stop on their travel schedule.
Be here and be on the ground. And let's actually talk about the event where we were. When we were all there yesterday, it was certainly something to behold, especially for a freshman senator to put together an event like that. It was pretty remarkable. Maeve, you started at the Harley-Davidson barn. I saw you there, and then went up to Boone. You spoke to a lot of voters or potential voters. What did you hear from them?
Basically, it's interesting what Matt had said. There are so many choices here in Iowa that I feel like voters are very overwhelmed. And there's so much opportunity for the candidates who are in the second tier at this point to break through. Obviously, Scott Walker has been leading in the polls, but there's a second tier that's just sort of working its way up. And there were so many different voters there yesterday who said they were supporting Carly or Ben Carson or Rick Perry, and it'll just be really interesting to watch how that shakes out.
Now, we have the responsibility, Jennifer, of covering a lot of different states. You have the benefit of being here on the ground, so you really have your ear to the ground. Right. What are you seeing and hearing?
Well, from yesterday, it seems like the two that really made the most of that fundraiser were Scott Walker and Rick Perry.
Why is that?
Well, there was a security breach near the beginning of the event, and so all the contenders were whisked away to an outbuilding for about 45 minutes. But Walker and Perry, who it doesn't hurt that they look very good on motorcycles, had done events, their own little events beforehand. So they both came in on motorcycles, but they spent a lot of time, working with Iowans and really chatting with them. It was an outdoor setting, a rural background, so it was good for Rick Perry. The motorcycles were good for Scott Walker. Just hearing from a lot of Republicans that those were the two that really made the biggest impression yesterday.
Let's actually, while we're talking about that, let's just look at the latest poll from your newspaper, which all of us from around the country look at very closely, the Des Moines Register. It's kind of hard to get all of the people who were asked about on the screen, but Scott Walker is way out ahead, 17%. Rand Paul is behind him and tied for second with Ben Carson. Jeb Bush actually went up in this poll. He's at 9%, and then you kind of keep going all the way down. Lindsey Graham and Bobby Jindal struggling at 1%. George Pataki isn't even registering. I mean, we all look at polls and people say, oh, they don't matter now, but they do matter in terms of fundraising, right?
Yes, exactly. They do. And there's a clear top tier in Iowa. So you've got Scott Walker, who in 2 polls in a row has been out ahead, and this poll even put him further up ahead. And then you've got another kind of middle tier that's still up at the top, and then you've got that lower tier who just is not breaking through in Iowa yet, so it's going to be harder for them.
And it was so interesting talking to motorcycle riders yesterday. I mean, Scott Walker's from Harley Country. He showed up in his black leather. He's out there in his boots. And but we were talking to a lot of the voters and asking whether he had a leg up with those voters. And really, people are still interested in all the different candidates. So I do think that there's an opportunity for someone to break out and pass Scott Walker, even though he's got that Midwestern vibe.
Yeah, and we are at, let's be honest, we're at the speed dating phase of the Iowa caucuses when it comes to the political version of that. Very few activists are getting married. So whether you're an economic conservative, you have very credible options. If you're a Christian conservative who's motivated by social issues, you have many credible options. So I think Republicans in Iowa right now are sampling all the wares they have in front of them, and we don't see some of the national hand-wringing that we hear about. Oh, this field is so unwieldy, and we need to make sure it's more manageable. Here in Iowa, we appreciate that we have options.
I want to talk about Democrats in 1 second, but before we do, Matt, I want to ask you about the idea of peaking too early. Right. I mean, Scott Walker, people don't realize he's from Wisconsin, which is obviously a Midwestern state, but he was born here. Right. Do you think that his support is real and enduring, or do you think that, it could be a flash in the pan like we saw, the last time around when you were chair?
Sure. Sure. Well, don't beat up on poor Iowa. No, I think Governor Walker has a few things going for him right now, and one is that relatability. Never forgets an opportunity to bring up that he shops at Kohl's like Iowa does, a Midwest discounting retailer. He served cheese curds and Miller Lite at his reception at the Lincoln Dinner a few months ago. We certainly love that here in Iowa. But also, he's drawing support across a broad section of the party right now. Social conservatives like the fact that he's motivated by faith in his governing philosophies, and economic conservatives like the fact that he took the fight to the unions in Wisconsin and can win in a tough state for Republicans. Now, the key is, how do you balance that electoral calculus on the head of a pin all the way through the caucus process? Because those are two groups that don't normally support the same candidate in the caucuses.
And that's going to be the challenge for anybody who's going to win the Republican nomination.